Hello and welcome, learners, in the language of French, a beginner session. Today we are going to talk about the important topic that is called the orthographic signs, or in the language of French, it has been called as les signes orthographiques. Once we are talking about the sign orthographics, that meant for the orthographic signs, there are different types of signages which are used in the language of French to be able to structure the language. In this context, today we are going to discuss these signages, which are basically the architecture, or which are basically enables the literature of French to be written in a proper manner. They are basically the accent, that is called le accent, le trema, that is the trema, le cédille, the cédille, le trait de union, that is meant for the sign of union, and last but not least, le apostrophe, that is meant for the sign of apostrophe. So once we are talking about all these signages, these are important signages mainly because this is a scientific language, and any scientific language may not be able to write properly once these important signages, the accent, the trema, the cédille, the trait d'union, or the apostrophe, are not going to be used in a proper manner. So let us discuss a little bit more. This discussion is based upon French, therefore I am using French accent and French vocab. Once we are talking about the sign orthographic, the sign orthographics as mentioned are as under. The first sign or orthographic signage in the signages in the language of French are the accents. These accents, or there are three different types of accents in the language of French, which is known as l'accent aigu, the acute accent, l'accent grave, that is the grave accent, and l'accent circumflex, or the accent that is called circumflex. So these accents are used at the different places on the different type of alphabets, mainly the vowels. The l'accent aigu is going to use in the alphabet E in the language of French. It is an hyphen which is tilted one, right mention on bonté, vecte. On E you can easily visualize there is a proper signage that is called the sign l'accent aigu. Here it is. So l'accent aigu is an accent which is the acute accent, or the small accent, which is going to be discussed in, or which is going to be elaborated any word which is basically E as an alphabet of French. Let us proceed further. Once we are talking about grave accent, this grave accent is another accent which is very important, used to be right in the shape on the vowels, discussed in the different sessions. Moving further, the accent called l'accent circumflex is going to be used on A, E, I, O, U, and this is like a roof. So this is circumflex or l'accent circumflex. This circumflex is used on A, E, I, O, U of French deliberately. La trema is a sign which is like two dot parallelly. It is going to be put on the vowels like I, like E. This is air, a, ru. So these are the signage which are like that. La trema se place sur toute voyelle qui doit se prononcer comme si elle était isolée. To easily pronounce the sound of the vowel, the trema is going to put. Now you can see here HAI, they are all three irregular vowels. Therefore, this has been placed as per the scientific norms of the language of French. Similarly, ague is UE in regular, so it has been placed. Sadil is another orthographic sign which is placed on the alphabet C, called say in French, to soften the sound. Here it is, which may be displayed like that. Je reçois passant. Why it has been placed? It is placed because there is no hard sound in the language of French. La Sadil se place sous le sa oxcal. On va donner le son de L. That is, to soften the sound, to place within C to soften the sound of C. Let us proceed further. Further, the orthographic sign is thread union, like a hyphen. This is going to connect, to unite a word. Venez-vous, venez-vous. It's not vene and vous. There are two different words, but it is listening. Accent ciel, accent ciel. The neuf. So this sign is actually the sign of the word of union. The thretle, the union. The thretle union settle the ou, the sioge mot. It is going to put between two words to join both the words so that they can give the proper meaning. Lactograph, the orthographic sign, that is an apostrophe, is going to used in any language, especially the language of French, mainly where there is a drop of a vowel, mainly A-E-I, mainly A-E-I, not O, A-E-I, because there it would be difficult to pronounce the sound of two vowels altogether. So, as per the scientific norms of the language of French, la acto of implies adon la article au panneau. Example, la guess, la igondel, je l'ansois, je allons. That meant for the orthographic signs replace one vowel, mainly A, E, I, which is put in before a word. Mainly these are the vowels before a word. So this is the last sign that we had talked about. After that, we had completed the discussion, which is basically meant for the les signes orthographiques. Thanks for watching. Stay connected, learn better French. Merci beaucoup.